I mean, candidly, the system is stacked in favor of law enforcement. But even with that being the case, they mess up more than you would expect. And yeah, you make a constitutional argument that, hey, they didn't have the right to search my vehicle. They didn't have the right to search my person. I was not doing anything illegal. To give you an example, and this is actually an evolving area of the law in Georgia, is the smell of marijuana. So smell of marijuana is almost a de facto probable cause basis to search a vehicle. The obvious problem with that is there's no way to show that you actually smell marijuana after the fact, because your body camera and your patrol car camera, they're not going to pick up a smell. So, what we had a lot was, law enforcement would say, well, I smell marijuana, so I'm going to search your vehicle. And oftentimes they wouldn't find marijuana at all. They may find something else. And it's like, well, what happened to the smell? In 2018, however, the federal government first removed hemp from being a prohibited substance, and then most of the states, or a lot of the states, followed suit, including Georgia. So in Georgia, marijuana or hemp is marijuana with a lower THC content. They're literally the same species of plant, cannabis sativa. But the threshold is 0.03% THC or less is hemp, 0.03% THC or more is marijuana. And why that's an evolving area of the law is that hemp and marijuana, when burned, smell the same. So that old argument about I smell marijuana in your car is now being tested by a lot of lawyers, including myself in a trial recently. Well, or at least the hemp versus marijuana argument in a lot of areas. But it isn't clear to me that that's probable cause anymore. I mean, we've got shops. I mean, just up this street here, there's at least two, what they call Delta 8. Delta 8 is hemp. Delta 8 is hemp with a compound called Delta 8 sprayed on it. Traditional THC that grows naturally in marijuana is Delta 9 THC. Delta 8, they just move an atom one place over and it becomes Delta 8, and it's legal. And they spray it on hemp, and you can smoke it like marijuana, and it smells like marijuana, and it's not illegal. And there's, several stores and shops here in Statesboro selling them, as well as about every other county in the state now. And if you smoke them in your car, you're not doing anything illegal, so in my opinion, there isn't probable cause anymore. That's also raised other challenges. I mentioned I tried a case on hemp recently that we won. The state's kind of catching up on how to handle this, and in that case, they didn't test it thoroughly to distinguish between marijuana and actually they didn't do any testing that distinguished between marijuana and hemp, because the only way to distinguish marijuana from hemp is to put it in what's called a mass spectrometer and actually produce the percentage THC in the plant. A lot of places like here for a while weren't doing that. They were just doing the standard marijuana testing, and all that tells you is it the cannabis sativa plant. Now GBI does most of, actually really all of the state's testing for any sort of drug, including marijuana. And they kind of had to do a lot of catching up after 2018. But they're now accepting, I believe there's an amount threshold. I don't think they're testing, 1 or 2 ounces. But they are accepting them, and now it's the question of, is your local law enforcement or district attorney following through and getting all the appropriate testing done. But that's true on any sort of drug case. If they're going to convict you of possession of cocaine, just like with marijuana or anything else, they've got to establish beyond a reasonable doubt that it is actually cocaine that they found.